Why is Thor the most normal one in this freaky family? What's up, guys? Hunter here, and here we are to do a breakdown and review for chapter, I actually don't know. Is that 85? Chapter 85 of Record of Ragnarok, which is known as, I don't know. I'll be completely real. I kind of glaze over the chapter name. But the chapter is some gas. Has some strange stuff in it. Some very strange stuff. Like, very questionable strange stuff. Like, why'd you put this here? Why'd you put this here level of strange stuff? But, I mean, it's still gas. It's still gas on many different levels. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop right into it. Editing me. Ready. 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, I understand liking somebody. I understand really liking somebody. I understand really, really, really liking somebody. Like, you're doing, you're in love with this individual. But gosh darn it, y'all, don't do this. What is about to transpire, I'm begging you, from the bottom, don't do this. Please. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. Like, there's a whole way more important thing, and there's so many cool things that happen in this chapter. But this cold open, bruh. This cold open, it's a cold open, all right. I mean, it's cold and it's opening. But let's not waste more time. Let's actually hop right into chapter 85. So we open up and we do get to see that Brunhild is walking through the halls of is it Valhalla? Or no, I guess this is just heaven. Like, Valhalla is a separate place, I think. Once again, the Record of Ragnarok cosmology, because it takes pieces and aspects of other cosmologies and, well, mythological cosmologies and smacks them all together. I typically, unless I'm like actively reviewing for a certain discussion I'm planning to do, I tend to forget like which is which, what is what, where is when, what is why. Like, I know the Bifrost connects all the three realms, and then Nostradamus destroyed that. So I'm not sure what connects the three realms now. And even then, is that the case? I think he destroyed the Bifrost, because that's why he's the most hated. But notably, I forget if the realms are split into Valhalla, the mortal realm, and then the underworld. But then again, like, they call a certain place Heim, Hel, but that's ruled over by Hades, not by Loki's daughter. So, like, I don't know. The cosmology confused me. But essentially, she's walking through the realms of the heavens. And once again, I love Kohei Horikoshi. I think that man is a demon with the pens. I love Boichi. I think that man is a demon with the pens. I think in certain ways, the Sakamoto Days mangaka Suzuki, insane. A demon with the pen and of their own right. Nakaba Suzuki from the Four Knights duology, another demon in his own right. Like, there's so many mangaka out there that do be smacking hard as all get out. But at least out of the series I review, man, this first page alone clears pretty much everything. And I know it's a monthly manga, right? But, like, Boruto is also a monthly manga. Dragon Ball Super's also a monthly manga. Seraph of the End is also a monthly manga. Nobody's doing it like Record of Ragnarok, bro. Like, the only one is, like, actual deities. Like Murata. Like, that's, like, the only one who can compete and very consistently clear Record of Ragnarok. But even then, I'm not sure, like, how consistently they produce. Because I don't think it's bi-weekly. Like, I swear, One Punch Man chapters pop up on Viz, like, whenever Murata feels like it, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Take your time to make some peak, but that's about the only one. And even then, sometimes Record of Ragnarok can go crazy. So this is just a beautiful image of Brunhild walking through the heavens, and we see that a certain someone rolls up. But you already know something's up based on how they roll up. Stay hydrated. It's over. The fate of humanity and your life as well. Odin himself strolls up, bare Hanjo walking. Now, Odin is a character, I'm not even going to pretend, you know this is Loki, because we immediately see Brunhild stroll straight on up to Odin. And notably, like, I'll admit, I completely forgot to do a live reaction for this one. So, 86 on will be live reaction exclusive for the patrons. So there is no live reaction for this one. This is one I did read on my own. So with this being the case, the reason even on my first read through, I was like, this probably isn't Odin, is because the birds aren't there. Like, he has everything else. He has the fit, he has the eye patch, he has everything there, but the birds. And birds, in fact, are the word. So, like, the fact that the birds weren't there and the fact that he was talking this much, yeah, it seemed pretty suspicious. And I love how Brunhild immediately recognized it. Though, admittedly, her shoe is mad weird. Like, it looks like an automaton shoe. Like, what are you wearing? How do you even take that thing off? But we see Chad walks up straight to Odin, and is like, oh, really? Let's do it. And Odin goes on to be, better prepare yourself, Brunhild. And, like, where's Gear? Like, that's like, where is she? Like, notably, those two are usually inseparable. I don't know where she is, because notably, the next round has been decided. We've got my goat. We've got the man who grabbed me by the throat and said, "Come back. You haven't talked about me in like a year or two. Come back, Pencil Man. You need to read Ragnarok for the channel again." My boat, my goat, not even my boat. The boat which led me to the goat, Sojo Kita. He's confirmed. He's about to fight Susanoo. So it is kind of weird that Gear's not here, but who knows? Maybe Gear's cooking something up. Who knows? Maybe Gear is the Volund. I don't know. Because presumably, we're going to get through 13 rounds, right? Like, we're going to get to all 13 rounds of the tournament. I think we are going to have a tiebreaker. Whether or not that leads to some consistent human W's, considering the gods have taken 2 W's back-to-back right now, or whether that is it 2? Because Tesla and then Tesla lost to Buggy Boy, and then Apollo beat Leonidas. And then who was before them? I think Buddha was before them, but I may be forgetting. Because let's see, I know the gods are up 1 now, I'm pretty sure, because they were in a deficit, then they tied it up, and now they're up 1. So I'm assuming we're gonna get to all the rounds. This is why I'm hoping and begging and screaming and creaming and hoping that my son wins. My son Sojo Kita, he better win. I'm praying. I'm hoping. But with that being the case, I am wondering, who's Brunhild gonna be the Volund of? Because unless they, like, start repeating Volunds, like, unless they take an old system and be like, hey, we can't have Brunhild or we can't have Gear sacrifice themselves, just in case certain things happen, who are they going to be the Volunds for? If I had to take a guess, Brunhild, the Great Schemer, and Nostradamus, the Great Schemer, they're most likely going to Volund. If I had to take a guess. But out of who's left of our human participants, I mean, I guess maybe Sasaki would probably take Gear, because Sasaki seems like a nice guy. Like Sasaki Kintoki, wait, is his name? His name is mentioned on later in the chapter, but essentially the guy that Buddha asked to look into Sigurd for him. That guy, I'm assuming he's going to take Gear, because I don't know. I don't see Gear turning into, like, I think Simo Haya is like a sniper. I don't see Gear turning into a Splagooter, and I don't see Gear working with Rasputin all too well. So, like, presumably those are going to be the penultimate Volunds, and I think that kind of means they have to win, unless we're sacking Gear, or like we're sacking Brunhild, and then it's going to be like a story of how Gear needs to rise up through the ranks and take care of the rest. I don't know, but regardless, I'm very interested to see, because it seems like once a Volund is partnered to their very specific human, they have not left. Notably, Jack is still with his Volund. I'm sorry, I don't remember any of the sisters' names. They become completely irrelevant the moment they transform into weapons, and then sometimes they get a little bit of personality when they come out, but they disappear again. But Sasaki still has his Volund, Sasaki Kozuro. We know that Jack still has his Volund. Actually, Kin, I'm not sure about, but I think Kin still has his. He's just undergoing healing right now. And who else? We have another winner. We have Jack, Kin, Sasaki, and it's 4-5 right now, I think. So who's the other? Oh, well, Buddha. He doesn't have a Volund. I mean, he has Hajun or Zionofuku, but like, he doesn't really count. So we do have 3 examples, and of course every other one is gone. So I'm very interested to see who they end up Volunding with. But once again, if I had to take a guess, it's likely going to be the Kintoki guy for Gear and Nostradamus and Brunhild will likely vote Odin. I'm assuming, considering how important Brunhild is to the entire series, Nostradamus is likely going to be the final round, most likely probably against Odin of some sort, and then we're going to see a proper face-off between Odin and Brunhild, and then we're going to see what really pops off in the end. But that depends if the tournament even continues as smoothly as it's been going, considering what is established in this chapter. However, with that being the case, we see Brunhild just do it. She calls the bluff. She says, "Don't you think you're going too far with those pranks of yours, Lord Loki?" Interesting, she still calls him Lord, though. So she still doesn't play around with the title. Notably with, actually no, that was a weird, like, Incu thing? I forget what the first one that she like bowed, and she didn't bow out of respect for him. She bowed out of respect for Thor, who just swung the hammer. But she does call him Lord Loki. Notably, this is not official translation, but I don't think official translations come out for Ragnarok for a while. So maybe this is just a slightly out of character thing that comes from translations. But like, if the kanji read Loki-sama, then this would transform immediately into Lord Loki. So I don't know. Interesting that Brunhild's going as far out of the way to call him Lord. But maybe that's just like it's better to be safe than sorry kind of thing. Like, yeah, sure, she doesn't respect any of them, and she obviously wants a little something from a certain different fella, but with that being the case, you gotta still be respectful. It's like the way you talk to your boss, whether you like him or not. They're your boss. They sign the checks. I like my boss. I think they're very cool gentlemen. But like, I understand why Brunhild would go out of the way, even if she's coming out and like doing a pretty disrespectful thing and just calling his bluff like this. Yeah, Lord Loki would still be the most appropriate way to address him, considering he is still a deity, no matter how weird. I'm just gonna say how weird he is. But we see that Loki goes, "What? Oh, I thought you would be more scared." Once again, Loki, man. I'll admit, I do like Loki, but I am more so leaning towards liking Hermes. Like, once again, the Greek cast has gotten so much more focus, obviously because they're the more, I'm not gonna say they're the more accessible pantheon, but like, we have a lot more of their records. Even then, that's kind of shaky. We have a lot of Greek stories. Norse stories are very like few and far between. I'm getting all this from Overly Sarcastic Production, by the way. I've done little to no research into either mythology. But I'm assuming the reason we've gotten so little Norse representation is due to just a sheer lack of characters to pull from, especially notable characters. Like, obviously, all the Greek gods are going to be included. The big three, your Ares, your Aphrodite, your Apollo. Like, yeah, you're going to get those heavy hitters, those knee slappers. It's actually just kind of interesting that we've only gotten them and not like a Persephone or a Hera or anything like that. Just the guys and one goddess and Aphrodite. But with that being the case, I think the Norse pantheon could definitely do with a bit more fleshing out. Loki, at least in his run so far, despite being one of the established fighter candidates, being someone who we've seen almost get into a battle when he was going head to head with Buddha and all that, like, despite all that, he feels like a character that I don't know too well, but not in the interesting way. Like, is that weird? Like, I don't know too much about Hermes, but I like that. And I feel like Hermes is going to cook something. Despite the man not being a fighter, confirmed for the tournament, and not really doing much of anything, other than being at the right place at the right time and knowing a lot of stuff. And that's all Hermes has done, but I'm genuinely interested in what Hermes has to offer. Loki, I don't know. Maybe just because maybe because Hermes is a more, like, derivative incarnation of the character. Like, I'd say Record of Ragnarok Hermes leans less into he's the god of speed and he's everywhere and he's localized to everything, and more so, like this Hermes within this in this series, more like the psychopomp variation, like the one that would like guide the dead and have like a whole bunch of extra knowledge on things that you wouldn't expect him to have knowledge on. Meanwhile, Loki is kind of just Loki, which is fine, don't get me wrong. In fact, it's very interesting that he's considered just flat out a deity in this pantheon. He calls Odin his uncle, not his father. But I believe, because technically, I believe in the original mythology, they're blood brothers. They're not actually, like, related at all. And I still think Loki isn't even a deity. Once again, I'm going off of the Overly Sarcastic Productions Evolution of Loki video, and, there are like 50 bajillion different Lokis. Heck, in one of the series I'm writing, I have a Loki that is completely different from this incarnation and every other incarnation. So, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for more spice with Loki coming down the line, though we do get some spice in this chapter. I may have been able to go without it though. But we see. And Loki says, man, oh man, you are so boring. And we see him do that ever notorious fake smile, and Brunhild's just like, bruh, if you don't get out of my way, I will smack you with my... Would that be the case? We see Brunhild declare, I am in a hurry. Excuse me. Wait a second. I'm here to save you. What you mean? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Save her from what? From who? From where? From why? Tell me. What you transpiring? What you conniving, my brother? What you mean you're here to save her? You, Loki, save Brunhild. What do you mean? And when you see that Brunhild, sometimes I feel like I can spot the difference. Because notably, Record of Ragnarok, at least if I'm remembering properly, it has two different artists. It does not have a uniform artist. And I feel like sometimes I can recognize them panel by panel. Like, I feel like this is a switch to a different artist. But maybe it's just the facial expression change from a more serene look to a more deep look. Like, I don't know. Something about it changes. And I tend to notice it. And one of them is better. Like, that is the thing. One of them is better. Like, it's sad, but I know which one is which and which one I prefer. But I'm not sure who does what. I don't think they're ever listed individually as, oh, so-and-so did this panel, so-and-so did that panel. So both of the artists for the series, I know you're separate. I know you are. You can't bamboozle me. You can't beguile me. But I don't know who does what and who's responsible for what. But I do know one of them's better. It's not like this is a bad drawing of Brunhild, but it's just like, it feels like a stark art style change from like this page to this page, or vice versa. I don't know. Something about it. I always notice it. Though, admittedly, it's once again comparing it to itself. Like, the detail in this one, like, panel that maybe takes up about 1/10 of the page is still better than every single weekly shonen manga running. Except for, like, Horikoshi. Maybe. I don't know. That hair detail kind of goes wild. I can just feel like that's the different manga artist, though. And I think there are some more notable switches later on in the chapter that I'll try to point out. I'll try to point out when I think each one switches, even though that's literally going to be all pencil headcanon. Because I don't actually have a clue when they're going to switch back and forth. So we see that Loki does declare, I'm here to save you. And Brunhild actually does have a moment of pause. Me? And Loki declares, with 2 more wins to go in this Ragnarok, the god side will win, isn't that right? Plus, there's still me and Uncle Odin waiting for our turns. Essentially, that's Loki suggesting, you ain't beating me. And to be fair, though this does due to the fact that only one of them has fought, the Norse are undefeated so far. It has just been Thor. And that was like, what, 7-8 rounds ago? So it has just been Thor, but presumably the Norse deities are also extremely powerful. And it's not like we have like soft swingers left only. Sure, we've blown through like half the Greek pantheon. We've used a whole bunch of them. All the big 3, Apollo. Is that it? Is it just all the big 3 and Apollo? Oh, Hercules too. You know, I didn't remember him because he sucks. I need to revise some of my old rankings and push Hercules lower. But with that being the case, we've blown through 5 of the Greek pantheon, and they're pretty spotty on their win-loss ratio. What? Hades lost, Poseidon lost, Hercules lost. We have 2 wins. I put up 3 fingers. We have 2 wins, and it's from Zeus, the strongest deity, and Apollo, another one of the strongest deities. So, like, it ain't looking all too hot. So something's got to give, and I can understand why Loki is at least confident in their own abilities, especially considering we don't know the upper limits of them, and we don't know how far the mangaka is willing to actually take Loki's abilities. Please don't just make him a knife man, like the MCU. Like, make him have actual abilities. I'm begging you. Even though that seems to rarely be. I'm still mad that Poseidon couldn't control water. And that's a thing that's confirmed in the data book. Or no, I like, he parted the sea. But I think that's it. Like, he doesn't actually have, like, high-level hydrokinesis, despite literally being the god of the seas. Zeus doesn't ever use a spark of lightning. He has control over time, which is his dad's thing. Hades, his whole ability was big spear. Apollo kind of made up for it because he controlled light. So I'll take that. Like, Apollo was, like, the only one. And I guess Hercules, which I hate. But, like, Hercules, I don't hate Hercules. I just think he's boring. But Hercules also had unique abilities and of his own. But like I believe in the original mythology, he's a god of strength. So like all the labors of Hercules that were transformed into his divine weapon were kind of just made up, which I like. I do like expanding on the source material like that. But I was hoping that the big three would get some more expansion on their base source material. We didn't get that for them. We just get punching. And don't get me wrong, Adam versus Zeus is still like one of my favorite fights ever, like in fiction in general, not to talk about just regular Ragnarok. Still is the most likely my favorite fight in regular Ragnarok. I'd have to think on that. Not too much, it probably is. But with that being the case, I don't know, Bugger. I'm kind of worried about the Norse pantheon and how many L's they could take, because I could see Loki losing, especially considering what happens in this chapter. I could definitely see Bro losing. However, with that being the case, we see that Loki openly declares, "You guys stand no chance." The Vexen is taking over. Don't worry, I won't let him possess me. Interesting. Does it seem weird that he has like, what are those eyes called? They look like goat eyes. Like, let me see. I forget what those type. What kind of eye? Like, they're not slitted eyes. They're like the long round eyes. Frogs have the eyes too. It's like goats and frogs. What type of eyes do goats have? I only noticed this because I think it's unique to that panel. Then again, we don't really get much of a close-up. No, yeah, it's only unique to that panel. Horizontally elongated pupils. So it's just that. Like, it's weird for that one. Whoa. Please don't go the distance and get dropped in a dream. I need to react to that rap soon. Please stay plugged in. I'm begging you. Golly gee willikers, I didn't even notice that. Please stay like that. All right. Can we work with this? Hopefully we can work with this. But yeah, I don't know. Horizontally elongated eyes only for this panel. Once again, maybe that's just like a shift between the artists. But I'm actually going to pay attention and see if he has. Nope, he doesn't have him here. I can't see from here, and I don't want to go too far because that'll be a weird thing that we need to talk about. Yeah, interesting. He has horizontally elongated eyes here. But with that being the case, Loki admits, after this fight is over, I'll be honest with you. My uncle is going to tear you limb from limb. Even though Ragnarok is an official rite, Uncle will never forgive you for your attitude at the council for the survival of mankind. Which is very interesting. Once again, we know so little about Odin. We just know he's a little bit freaky geeky, and we get some more context for Odin at the end of this chapter. But that is interesting. I'm shocked Odin cares. Like, I mean, I guess it's just like a matter of respect kind of thing. Like, notably, I know I come from a big family. So, like, I know there's just certain things you don't do around the older members of the family, especially older men. Like, everyone older gets respect. That's kind of just how the hierarchy goes in the Pencil family. The older you are, the more respect and reverence you're going to receive simply because you are older. That's something that none of us can claim. I have family members who are like twice my age. And I'm old. Very old. With that being the case, 3 times my age. I'm very old. No, I'm kidding. Well, not really. But with that being the case, I know that there's like levels to it, and there are just some things where you just punish them anyway, even if nothing. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna risk the biscuit because you shifting like this is getting on my golly good nerve. We're gonna see. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something extra on top of that. Boom, into the darkness. There we go. So the thing I do get there is that maybe it is just a disrespect thing, but notably, I've never seen Odin as someone like that. Zeus seems like one who would more drastically respond violently with disrespect and stuff like that. Odin, though, I don't know. He's kind of. I'm not saying that Odin's like a chill dude or anything, but we just haven't gotten enough of his character for me to genuinely believe that. So that's interesting that Loki claims that. Though once again, that may go into Loki's whole idea here and trying to get Brunhild to, with the pussy. As we see that Brunhild's like, bro, really? Once again, I love the expressions that the regular Ragnarok manga gives all their the 2 artists give all their characters fantastic. So much said with so little. And we see that Loki goes on to offer the bargain. But you know, I could just talk to Uncle. And, well, I wonder if I can save you alone at least. Though, once again, you can tell Loki, I do like this though, you can tell Loki realizes he's not getting her. So what does he immediately leap to? Because remember, the original threat was, oh, Uncle will definitely get you. But then, when he realizes that's having no effect on Brunhild, he broadens the scope to what else she would care about, the rest of her family, and attempt to see if she could, well, give in to him. And we see that Loki explains, and I do believe what some of he's saying is true. I do think there are pieces of what Loki's saying that are further characterization for some characters and is true on a general scheme of things, but I am taking some of what he says with a grain of salt, considering what's revealed later on in this chapter. He says, the other gods wouldn't be interested in the lives of half-god, half-humans. Gramps, Zeus, is having... Gramps? Or, see, there's a comma, I guess. I would say, I would translate that as Grandpa Zeus, but then again, I'll translate. Gramps Zeus is having the time of his life, after all. But that's a weird, once again, that's just a weird translation thing. I'm assuming the other gods wouldn't be interested in the lives of half-gods, half-humans. Gramps Zeus is having the time of his life, after all. So I'm assuming maybe that has to do with the fact that the gods wouldn't care for the hybrids. They'd only care for the... maybe some pure humans they'd want to keep around for entertainment and stuff like that. But even then, you wouldn't think that'd be the opposite. You'd think they'd want to work with hybrids, because hybrids would hypothetically have more potential than the base humans. Though the only hybrids we very specifically know of are Sigurd and the Valkyries. We haven't really run into any other half-god, half-human hybrids. For the longest time, Hercules, at least before I got fully into the manga, I thought Hercules was going to be a demigod raised to godhood. But no, he was just an explicitly immortal raised to godhood. Though something is somewhat hinted at the backstory that maybe he's still Zeus's kid, but I highly doubt that. Zeus, the pipe layer, Zeus the plumber, is not seemingly as well established in this version of the mythology. So, with that being the case, we see that Loki is still not getting Brunhild, as she just begins to turn away. And he goes, for sure, it would be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances, but I am well regarded by Uncle, you know. Once again, Uncle, very interesting. I presume, I don't know, who's his father then? Kratos? If we're going by Ragnarok, not Ragnarok, if we're going by God of War Ragnarok, but because in the original mythology, I believe they're blood brothers. And then in the MCU/Marvel, Loki is adopted by Odin. Well, stolen, but forcefully adopted by Odin. And then I think, if I'm remembering properly, then that would mean that Loki does have he would have a different father in both of those mythoses. But in this one, uncle. That would imply that, then again, maybe it's uncle in the sense that I call some of my dad and mom's friends uncle and auntie, depending on just the fact that they were close friends. I don't know. That's very interesting. But essentially, Loki is not blood brothers with Odin in this pantheon. He is a nephew, whether that be biological or non-biological. And I am interested to see how Loki's so held in high regard by Odin. I guess Odin doesn't mind him being around, but I wouldn't say that's held in high regard. We see that Loki says, naturally, I'd leave it alone, but I don't want to see any unnecessary slaughter either. A bold-faced lie. I can do it for you as a special favor. Yes, that's right. That's spot on. Let's go for that. Once again, you can tell he's just spitballing. He is desperate. He is looking for it. And once again, I've said it at the start of this, and I'll say it again. Don't be this down bad. But there have been times. There have been times in my life where I have been trying to spit game, and it just hasn't worked out. Though, admittedly, this is not spitting game. This is spitting please survive, I guess. I don't know. But with that being the case, we see Brunhild simply smile. Are you looking in something... Oh, wait. I swear I can read. Are you looking for something in return from me? Which is, the natural question. Because everything unless it's coming from, a person who unconditionally loves you, then typically, sometimes they'll just give things without expecting anything in return. But even then, sometimes it's questionable. But of course, Brunhild and Loki, as far as we know, aren't related. And, Loki's presumably, I believe, once again, going purely with the Overly Sarcastic Productions video, I believe Loki doesn't actually have a deific domain, at least not established in the original Norse mythology, or at least what little we have of that. I think he does mischief, but that's not his title, or what he's actually known for. I'm trying to think. We know Thor is like god of storms, like god of war, and all stuff like that. That's like stated. That's what he was worshipped for. But we don't actually have any context for what Loki was worshipped for. But presumably in this one, because it's Loki, and Illusion Man, it is very likely that he is still a god of mischief. So like, yeah, of course, nothing like comes for free, especially from someone like Loki. And we see he goes, huh? No, you've got it wrong. I mean, it's true. Oh, see, look at this. He's fumbling over his way. See, with context, I don't know. I've liked people before. And admittedly, my speaking ability has gone out the window. Let me not even pretend like your boy's a smooth operator. No. Your boy's not a smooth operator. I am, in fact, quite the opposite of a smooth operator. Your boy can barely communicate. I can barely communicate to y'all when I'm reading something. What do you think I do when I'm trying to communicate with other people and trying to get them to want even be friends, not to talk of get into a relationship? But we see that Loki fumbles over his words, and Brunhild says, regardless, thank you very much. Whatever the outcome may be, it doesn't mean anything, even if I'm the sole survivor. Which is interesting. So she's willing to sacrifice all her sisters. Man, Sigurd must be laying some gigabytes. I wish I was kidding. Remember what this is all for in secret. And we see that Loki even decides, fine, forget it. She ain't going forward the traditional way. Let me smack her with it. Let me show her the long snake. And proceeds to hit her with the, oh, I see. So it doesn't matter. Well, I hope it goes just fine. Sigurd's rescue. And you see immediately the only thing to draw a reaction that is more than indifference or even despair. Well, not despair, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's a D. I think it starts with a D-I. Indifference or disdain. There we go. Either we've got indifference, we've got disdain, but no real drastic reaction. But the moment the supreme half being himself gets laid down, Brunhild goes, because I know I have some friends who are very touchy about their exes. Though admittedly, Sigurd ain't an ex, as Brunhild said herself. And I know some people who they love their significant other. They would do devious and dastardly things for their significant other. So I can understand why Brunhild, someone who's typically behind closed doors, very much controlled by her emotion. I get why even the hint that people realize what's going on for real is alarming. But you can tell, I love this, you can tell Loki didn't want to bring that up. Because he knows he's at best 37th billing, not to talk of first billing. So he brought that up out of desperation. And you can see, based on her reaction and the negativity that's just radiating off of her, Loki goes to stutter. He's like, I knew it. I thought absolutely that was the case. How could he not be involved in this Ragnarok? That's why you're willing to fight against anyone, even if it costs you your own life. And we see Brunhild turns to him, and Loki immediately freezes. Because of course, all that's true. Once again, what he's saying is correct, but based on what he wants, that's a sad thing. It's like, then again, I don't know. I've been lucky enough that it's never really happened to me. But man, I can't imagine seeing someone you're connected to in some. Then again, I don't know. I can't even say that because these two are barely connected. We have no idea. Like, Valkyries are admittedly a Norse concept, but I have no idea like who are their parents? Who are the Valkyries' parents? I have no clue. What is Loki's relation to Odin? Is it biological? Is it like friend-wise? Like, I have no idea. But that being the case, we see Brunhild turn, shut Loki up, and she immediately goes, "That's none of your business." Oh, once again, man, just the artist, it's so juicy, bro. But we do get to see that Loki immediately shatters. Besides, maybe it's just the Jujutsu Kaisen on the brain, but Brunhild declares, besides, no, we'll win. No, I'd win. And she says, we'll save mankind. At best, you should worry about yourself. Which is all the truth, because you never know. These humans can be surprising and quite dangerous indeed. And notably, she even switches text to say, Loki. And Loki is left alone, flabbergasted and stunlocked by the words of, oh Lord, here we go. We see a different part deep within the heavens, and there are many different beasts here. And then someone's brushing some hair, but of course you can recognize these gloves. Heck, you may be able to recognize that hair type. It looks very similar to this. Early, you scared the soul out of me. You can make such a cold voice, huh? Besides, say that none of my business, and give me such a cold look. I always, even though I've always loved you so much, Brunhild. No! You know, like, once again, I said I wanted more Loki characterization. So I guess I got what I asked for. Why this? Why is this the characterization we're going for? Why is this what we're layering on top of the character, bro? Why this? Why? He's already a weird dude. Why do we have to make him weirder? I have genuinely I have no idea why. Like this, and the thing is, this is so uncanny valley purposefully. Like, I know it's meant to be weird. It's meant to be strange. Loki is not the most conventional people in his original mythology in any sort of adaptation, but dog, what? This is just weird. This is weird. Like, once again, you know, I'm not one who can judge other people for getting caught up in their emotions, especially Young Pencil. Young Pencil did crazy things from, like, I was writing love letters and like writing from your like mysterious whatever. That's a whole story time video in of itself, sliding it in lockers and stuff like that. I was a weird guy, but like making a whole doll and like brushing its hair, like, dog, I don't know, just confess or something. Like you, because who knows how long this has been going on. We don't know how old these characters are within the context of their respective mythologies. So like, don't be this down bad. Don't gosh darn. You can be down bad. All right? Everyone's a little bit down bad in life. I believe that. I think it's just truth. Just everybody's a bit down bad. But don't be this down bad, gosh darn it. Talk to them. Male or female. Just go. Don't do this. If you get to this point, realize you've gone a step too far. Go just talk to them. Get those emotions resolved and figure out something else. Because golly, I don't even want to talk about this too much. This is weird. It's weird, but I guess it's fine that it's weird because it's Loki and this is supposed to be weird, but like, dog. Who greenlit this? Would that be the case? Like, I can't imagine being the artist and getting this. Oh, BT Dubs, draw a creepy, uncanny valley variation of Brunhild that Loki is brushing the hair of and building as he confesses, and outright as he confesses his love to it. Like, I don't, like, if I was one of the two artists, I'd be like looking at the other one, I'd be like in the Discord call or whatever and be like, I'm not drawing that. You draw that. No, I don't want to draw that. Let me draw the cool stuff later. No, you draw that. And then they had like coin toss for it, dog. What? But we do get to see that Brunhild does alone and is thinking on the fate of this ever-present Ragnarok. And then we get to see the real Odin posted up, big stomping with the birds on his shoulders. And we see that he's encountered by somebody. So far, everything seems to be going according to your Keikaku, Din Din. What do you want, Buddha?
Huh? Buddha? Who the heck do you think you are? You're the traitor!
I'm sorry, I don't know. These birds don't speak that much in this chapter, so I'm gonna give them that voice. I'm sorry, if you hate it, you hate it. But Buddha, what does this fit, bro? Who'd you rob this off? Where'd you get the Sherlock Holmes cosplay, bro? Where did you even read Sherlock Holmes? I know you eat lollipops and stuff like that, but like, he's got a pipe in everything. Buddha! What the heck, man? Like, and the thing is, why would you come make these allegations alone when you're weaker than you've ever been? Like, notably, I think Zero Fuku's sword literally vanished. You don't have a divine weapon anymore. In fact, based on his reaction that he shows later on in the chapter, he is kind of just fodder compared to his original self. Sure, he still does have the one right eye of enlightenment. But like, dog, you're missing an eye? Which is funny, because like, people are able to regrow entire limbs, but you can't get that eye back. Bro, if you don't get that eye patch swapped out for something actual, go get your real healing that Brunhild got mad at you for not having. But I'm sorry, you want to press one of the most powerful deities across the pantheons, one of the leader deities, with one eye, no weapon, and some Sherlock Holmes cosplay? Why would you do that? Why? Buddha, think, bro. But of course, we see that the birds ain't having it. They're like, what are you doing here? What do you want?
Why do you think you're Aladdin?
I can't do, I forget the voice actor's name. Iago from Aladdin. I can't do that voice. Gilbert Godfrey, there we go. But we see that the birds are like,
What's up with that stupid? Oh, Lord, I can't even do it.
you know what? I have a different idea. What's up with that stupid look? What is this din-din nonsense? You want us to poke out your other eye? Which is crazy. That is insane, bro. you want us to make you really blind? Well, now I think about it, they are matching eye patch buddies now. We do get to see that, once again, Buddha just manifests or pulls out a magnifying glass. And I'm shocked Odin's even entertaining any of this, as Buddha goes on to say, well, I guess this didn't change your expression at all, huh? And Odin just looks on. I love the details of the black sclera for Odin, though. We do get to see that Odin's like, dog, bucko, child, I don't have time to play with you. And he goes to walk off. And when you see Buddha, he's like, you know what? I'm going to make one of the most foolish decisions I ever could. Thank the heavens that a certain buggy boy comes to save me. And he says, say, Din-din, that Sigurd guy. Who the heck is he? Once again, this feels like an artist switch. Then again, I think Buddha just kind of looks weird in this chapter in general. For a character who has some of my favorite panels in the entire series, like, I don't know, Buddha just looks funny throughout, like, all of this chapter for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the new fit and I'm used to, like, the hair being exposed and obviously the two eyes, but I don't know, his face seems rounder. Once again, the quality of the art is still the same. Like, heck, look, a mangaka who's willing not to just use a generic pattern and actually bend the pattern with the shape of the clothes. I'm looking at you, every other mangaka ever. I don't blame you, because that's the most efficient way to do it. Heck, I do the same thing. But, hey, that's actual, like, dedication to the craft, showing the folds that would naturally come with the patterns, which usually isn't done. And, like, once again, the detail in the magnifying glass in itself, the shading on Buddha, even the slight detail where you can still see the enlightenment in his eyes, even though it's super faded. Once again, I do like all the details here. It just looks a slight bit off into what I typically think of when I think of, like, bomb Buddha panels. And this isn't, like, no small panel or anything. This is a whole more than half a page. And of course, you know, name dropping the big gird is like, I'm sorry, what you say, bucko? What you say? And even the birds are like, hmm? And yeah, it is Kintoki. It's Kintoki. I forget his last name though. I forget last or first name. We see that Buddha explains, I'm having Kinchan look into something for me right now, you know? It's been a long time. It looks like he was imprisoned in Tartarus, the Abyss, which is interesting. I think the only other person who was ever imprisoned there was Nostradamus, but no one seems interested in that. Like, I think he was the only one that was put down there too. But then again, I may be misremembering because those chapters are from a while ago. Like, I think those are pre-Apollo Leonidas fight, and even like maybe, no, I think it was even pre-Tesla fight. So I do forget Nostradamus and his entire lore and where he was sealed for his misdeeds of destroying the Bifrost. But interesting that Kinchan is able to get all this information. I don't actually know much about that guy or his history, so I probably need to look up that. But that being the case, we see that this does genuinely catch Odin's attention, if only for a little bit as he tries to walk off. And we see that Buddha even reveals, and that too at Din-din's behest. So essentially, it is Odin's fault that Sigurd is imprisoned down in Tartarus, the only prisoner. Well, not the only prisoner. There are monsters down there, but the only deity. And we see that Buddha... Oh, well, no. Not yet, not Buddha. But the bird's going to say, what? Wait, no, I'm just giving him a deep voice. Sigurd is a deity of great misdeeds. It's only natural that said god is imprisoned. And of course, Buddha says, right. I wasn't used to you guys having this deep of a voice, but correct. That's what's bothering me. Sigurd stole Din-din's magic sword, Gram, or something like that. He also slaughtered Din-din's loved fire dragon, Fafnir. Once again, I have no idea if any of this is true, or if any of this lines up to the original mythology. Feel free to let me know. But with that being the case, I've heard some charges brought against him, but none of them seem as serious as the crimes of betraying the heavens or slaughtering chief deities which belong to the Tartarus level. although I don't think their crimes worthy of imprisonment in Tartarus. So essentially, but it was like, I don't know. The crimes really aren't fitting the bill right now. You know what I'm talking about? I know what I'm talking about. Like, somewhat, maybe, but like, theft of a sword and slaying a random monster. Like, that's not we gonna lock him down in the under place. We ain't really gonna put him down there like that for real. So something's not adding up. And of course, Buddha with his 50 billion IQ. Once again, this is a better looking panel of Buddha. I'm not sure why. This panel in particular, it just catches me off guard. Maybe it's just the angle, something about this panel. Like, I'm pretty sure this was going to be in the thumbnail, but I looked at it again, I was like, I actually don't like this panel that much. This panel's good, though. I may use this for a thumbnail. But with it being the case, we see that Odin apparently does have a history of annihilation, which shocks me. But Buddha says, I mean, when someone makes Dindin angry, usually they are annihilated, right? And that's where it stinks to me. Impudent fool. What are you saying? So, once again, Odin is actually being forced to entertain it, because he's like, you know too much, and you talking a bit too much. So what you trying to get into? Like, I don't even blame Odin. He's like, oh, if you want all that talking, what you trying to get into? You trying to run smoke? Where your divine weapon at? Oh, that's right, shattered. Where your bone at? All right, in the heavens. Where your eye at? All right, in the trenches. Mr. I ain't get healed. What you want? What you want? I do like that. And we see that Buddha doesn't realize the dangers he's in, I guess, as he says, I heard that Sigurd is Brun's boyfriend, and then I figured it out. The reason Brun started. Brun. I guess it'd be Brun, not Brun. Like, her name's... Is it Brunhild or Brunhild? I think it's Brunhild. But the reason why she started Ragnarok was to save humanity and her beloved Sigurd. So, yeah, that is admittedly, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that motivation. I guess what I don't mind about it for Brunhild's characters is not like it undermines any of her scheming, her general characterization, her care for her family, or anything like that. None of that. And it does do the important thing in adding a smaller victory, a more personal victory, one that we can generally relate to. Because one thing is, while saving humanity is a noble idea and all, it's very broad, very wide scale, very like transcendental of everything we could understand. But, you know, just wanting to save someone you love is something that a lot of people would be able to connect with, whether you have someone you love already or whether you have family or someone you deeply care for. Yeah, of course, just that concept alone is a lot more human, so I definitely get why the concept was introduced. And I do like the layers it adds to Brunhild's character. And we do get to see that Buddha actually even breaks off a piece of his little pipe, which is not what you're supposed to do, Buddha. He says, and this is just more conjecture of mine, but in my eyes, Dindin would never allow that to happen. So, there is some reason. And I'm still interested in why Brunhild thinks winning Ragnarok would allow her to free Sigurd. The only win con I could see that would allow that to happen is if Zeus had gotten got, but he's not. He's alive, fine, and fully healed. And if Odin gets got. So if this was just a long game to get rid of Odin, then that's the thing. But then again, I could see Zeus very easily getting in the way and being like, hey, I don't know why he put him down there, but I don't like him either. So he's going to stay down there, whether you like it or not. Like, I could very easily see that kind of scenario happening too. But once again, I'm not too sure about the reasoning behind Sigurd's genuine imprisonment, if that's an Odin-only thing and Zeus just overlooked it, or anything about that. Because nobly Sigurd in of himself seems like a pretty, like, hush-hush individual. Not many people know that he's even down there. Not many people even seem to know of Sigurd. So that's very interesting. And we see, and Buddha naturally asks, what does that mean? It means pulling Sigurd out of Tartarus. So, of course, he's pressing Odin. He's like, go on now, bucko. You know what this means. You know that I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that we know what this means. And we see Odin's like, oh, no, this is still Buddha. We get to a cold Odin moment soon. We see that Buddha says, how are Ragnarok and a rescue connected? Why, Dindin? Why have you imprisoned him? Although I'm not sure about that part, though. Could it be that Sigurd is actually a precious person for Dindin? Explain it all in one single line, please. darkness. And I do love this detail. But once again, Buddha, man, why would you at least press him with some backup? Why would you press him alone? Like, I get, maybe if you were still at your full power, maybe you still had direct access to your divine weapon. If this was Buddha from like chapter 33, when we have the Loki question, you want war? And Buddha was like, all the time. It was about to go down and dirty with Sasaki and I was about to say Kintoki. Sasaki and Isami Kondo and Soji at his back. They'd be like, okay, yeah, pop off then. But dog, you pulled up on Odin alone, pressed them with questions that are clearly uncomfortable for him and expected anything but this. Because we see Odin, he starts to cheese a little bit. And he's like, have you said everything you wanted to say? We see that even the eye that was left free from shadow gets lost in the darkness as the very power of Odin begins to leak out. We see even Buddha's like, wait a minute, I may have miscalculated. I may have overestimated my current capabilities with one eye and no weapon. Even the birds are like, whoa, wait a minute, we haven't seen this man tweak out ever since Buddha did a little something. What is happening? And we see the dark malice leaking off of Odin. And he's like, nah, broski, it's too late. You want to play some games? I got some games for you. And he immediately drops it. He says, fine, I got you, bro. Let me introduce you to the Sacred Treasure Ultimate. Now, Sacred Treasure Gungear, bro. He immediately pulls out the divine tool on him. And of course, if you know Norse mythology, you know the Sacred Spear Gungear is Odin's bad thing. So the fact that he just reaches out of nowhere and summons that bad boy on him, you know Buddha's cause. Like, sure, I know Buddha is an extremely powerful character within the world of Record of Ragnarok, but that was when he had a weapon in both of his eyes. Meanwhile, Odin, like, sure, Buddha's still very powerful with one eye, but Odin's been used to one eye. He got a power up for sacking the eye, presumably if the eye mythology is uniform across the original mythology and other interpretations of it, and this one. Buddha, though, he just sacked power and has nothing to defend himself with. So Odin pulling up with gun gear, bro, oh, it's getting tragic, it's getting devious. And we see that ultimately the birds are like, whoa, I do not want this. We did not sign up for this. And Odin declares, you can do whatever you want with your suspicions. However, we see Buddha's forced to activate his eye, see the future, and dodge back. As this isn't even the blade of Gungear. This is merely the tip of the pommel. Not the pommel. I think, maybe, I forget what the... He essentially, instead of like piercing the ground with the blade or like the tip of the scabbard, he pierced it and caused this shattering of the ground with essentially this part of the blade. I'm not even sure if it's sharp or anything. He did that. You're raring up for battle. And notably, he does this and shatters everything. This whole area. And we see Buddha, once again, he's dancing back, but he's still messing around. He says, whoa, that's crazy. Look at that. That's what happens when you get angry, huh? And birds, you could fly. Why would you get on the ground? The birds do immediately start hugging each other. And we see that Odin declares, hey, bro, you could have yapped in your head all you want. You could have investigated all on your own. But you came to me. You step your bare nasty old feet all up in my territory. And let me tell you something. Anyone who steps into my domain, whoever they may be, shall be twisted and crushed. So, Odin's about to get active on Buddha. And once again, this is clearly a bad matchup. Though it seems like Buddha, he's ready for it. Because he goes, whoops, I wonder how much my previous deductions were in Din Din's domain. So he does not retreat here. So he is willing to go head to head. I'm not going to, admittedly, as much as I would like to take this as like, oh, maybe one-eyed, no weapon Buddha could go head to head with Odin. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. I'm sorry, as hype and as powerful as Buddha is, I don't really buy it. But though it is a funny little detail that immediately in order to get ready for a proper fight, he needs to shed the extra cloak and the hat and stuff like that so he can actually be ready and prepared. Though we do get to see, as Odin prepares to swing Gungear, someone comes out the cloak. Why does he have to be one of my favorites, bro? I can't even say his name confidently. Ugh. A new goat comes from the shadows to support that man. And he may have been here the entire time, based on what he says. As a man comes out and says, that was an interesting theory. And we see as Gungir's reeled back, someone else reels back with their weapon, Buddha in the middle. So bro has to lean with it, rock with it. Though admittedly, I don't know how Buddha dodges here. Does he like leap up? Oh no, he does sidestep here. There he is. But Buggy Boy himself, Bellboy, comes out to say, I surely would like to know more about it. Notably, he's already healed quite a decent bit. Like, sure, I think Leonidas versus Apollo was only like 8 minutes or like 18 minutes. It was one of those two. But Buggy Boy, I mean, he has a couple scratches on him still, but he's already healed up pretty well, to the point where with his sacred weapon, he's able to clash head to head with Odin and neutralize with him. You can definitely argue maybe Odin held back once he realized it was Buggy Boy, but still, once again, just building up the fact that Buggy Boy is just an insanely strong deity. And we see the two neutralize and cause this clash. And of course, we know this is still very, very impressive for Odin, because his weapon doesn't even take any damage from the ultimate spear, the ultimate blade amplified. Although maybe this was the defensive property of it, but even still, the fact that the blade wasn't shattered, very, very impressive. Remember, this tool alone, when being used properly, was able to tear straight through a Volund, something capable of slaughtering deities. So this ain't nothing to sleep on. This is quite impressive. And we see that Buddha naturally asks, oh, actually, no. We see a whole different plot point be brought up here. As Buggy Boy asks, Odin, what's that long wish that you were talking about? And we see that Buddha's like, separate plotline? And we see that Odin realizes that, oh, he's been getting spied on, as he says, Buggy Boy, you fool. And Buggy Boy, he just goes for it. In a similar vein to Buddha, though admittedly, once again, Buggy Boy is seemingly fully healed and has direct access to his sacred weapon, so I'm not too shocked he's more bold to go head to head with Odin. He says, would you, for example, resurrect the genesis of the universe? Okay. The Primordial God, or something of that sort. And we see... Interesting. So, this is an interesting plot point to add. Once again, we do not fully understand much of this shared pantheonical, I'm not sure how you'd say that word, but this shared world where all beliefs and deities seemingly coexist just fine. We don't really know how this universe was born. A lot of people just wrote it off as a typical universe, and then maybe the deities came and created humans because Zeus's mention of the Big Bang. But notably, it appears that the Big Bang may have actually been a person. The genesis of the universe, Ardge, the Primordial God, which is interesting. Notably, at least from my loose knowledge of Norse mythology, the origin point, the nexus point was nothingness. And then from that nothingness gave birth to Ymir, or Ymir, depending on how you like to pronounce it. And then Odin and his brothers, but then maybe that's, I think it may have just been Odin the original, but I believe it was Odin and his brothers, but I may be conflating that with Marvel mythology, not necessarily original mythology, but I believe Odin and his siblings slayed Ymir and formed the 9 realms from him. But this seems to be an entirely different case. I've never heard of Ardge. In fact, let me look up Ardge. Though, admittedly, I'm not sure if I'm even saying their name right. I've never even heard of this thing before. Ardge. We'll just do Ardge mythology. Maybe this is another original character? Oh, nope. It immediately pops up. Ardge in Greek religion is the muse of origins and beginning. She was one of 5 muses. Okay, so that's completely different. So, who knows who this Ardge is? Once again, the world of Record of Ragnarok evolves and grows ever deeper. And we see, while Odin has realized he's been accused of such a thing, this is massive, as Buddha goes, Primordial? And the birds themselves go, Primordial God? And Odin hits one of the fattest cheeses ever, bro. Look at this silly guy. Look at this massive cheese, bro. But that's interesting. Once again, I know not much of the original mythologies, nor do I know much. Once again, I haven't read the Percy Jackson books in years. I think the most recent completed series I've read is like Trials of Apollo. I know there's the Nico and Will book that I still need to buy and read, and then there's the newest book with the original trio that I need to buy and read. But from what I remember, and heck, once again, I'm writing my own kind of thing, the primordials are insane. They're meant to be this different tier. Like just an entirely different level from the titans, the gods, the giants, anything like that. They're supposed to be kind of everything. Gaia is consistently considered a primordial. Nyx is consistently considered a primordial. Deities that are so unbelievably powerful and so unbelievably important that they're basically unstoppable in the regards of their respective pantheons. Sometimes they take the form of like the void, like sometimes the ultimate primordial being is considered chaos in like Greek mythology, which kind of just gave birth to everything, including Gaia, another primordial deity. Sometimes like there isn't one, like things are just born of nothingness, like in the Ginman Gap for Norse mythology, or the Sea of Nothing in Egyptian mythology, and then they give birth to primordials like Atun and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how this ends up going, and I'm interested to see Odin's motivation, because once again, going off from what I know of the original interpretation, he slayed Ymir to create the regular world. So what is the origin in this point, and why is Odin so interested in reviving a primordial deity? I don't know, but it's interesting, and I'm very interested to see how this progresses here, because notably, we don't even get to focus on it. We immediately cut away to everyone else, and we see everyone's shocked, and I'm shocked too, and I'm happy, as they're all like, wait, what's that? Amazing. The ring this time. Is it crazy? It's crazy, isn't it? It's so big. And we see that Gear realizes, this, would it be? I don't know how Gear knows this, but Brunhild goes on to say, that's right. That's Kyoto at the end of the Edo period. Kashimov's alive during this period. If you don't know Jujutsu Kaisen, that means nothing. But actually, Ryu was most likely alive. But with that being the case, finally, we're getting another actual interesting arena. This is probably going to turn out to be one of my favorite battles. Ragnarok, the last battle between gods versus humans. Round 10, Susanoo no Mikoto versus Okita Soji. The battle begins. That's the battle beings. I mean, I guess that technically could be a word, but like that, I mean, beings is a word, but I don't know. I assume that's supposed to be battle begins, but that's so good. I'm so happy we're actually getting a unique arena. It's been so long since we've actually genuinely had one, so beautiful. I can't wait to see how these two use it, especially considering, unlike Jack and stuff like that, I don't see these two really like using the environment as their weapon. So this is going to be super duper interesting. Overall, this is an amazing chapter. Unbelievably worthy, if you could not tell. From the further characterization of Loki and the faults in his character being displayed, all the way from the very start of this chapter, to Brunhild's steeliness finally breaking down at the mention of her lover by a person she never expected to hear it from. Further characterization for Brunhild, I appreciate. It's creepy. It's very creepy, but further characterization for Loki is always appreciated, especially considering he's one of the most long-running deities. I think the only long-running deities who's meant to fight in the tournament that we've already been introduced to. Notably, we've been chilling with Odin for a while now, but he's the only other one that's like this long-running yet has not fought yet. So further characterization is always good. Detective Buddha, a funny bit. I still think it is kind of stupid of him to run up on Odin like this, but hey, I'll take no matter how stupid it is to get the reveal of Gungnir, and also to see a little display of Odin's power and start to get some more genuine like cross deity power scaling with Buggy Boy coming in and being able to negate Odin like this. This is very, very good, because one of the biggest things about inverse battles for Record of Ragnarok is that everyone's kind of the strongest at one thing, or not the strongest at one thing, and like they're kind of just universally scaled to their matches. So it gets super duper weird, but hey, I'll take some more cross deity scaling. This means that maybe Tesla would be able to go a little bit with Odin. Though admittedly, this is just one interaction. But even then, the main thing that gets me for this chapter, as much as I love my son finally getting a fight, it's the introduction and reveal of Odin's motivation. The resurrection of the oh my lord, I was about to try to sound so cool, but it came out wrong. The resurrection of the genesis of the universe. Okay. The Primordial God. I'm very interested in that. So overall, an amazing chapter. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave Final Genesis in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a pull-up Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks after this one will now include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Ragnarok. Now, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Akid's Void. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, DemXLND, and Igneal. And I'd like to give a chunky old thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. And I'd like to give another chunka thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchio, Joaquin, Idemokami, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a tractor thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another giga gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.